Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. Community Policing, CAPS24.org. The 24th District has been great about doing the most they possibly can with limited resources to give us close to monthly meetings per beat, not quite close. And we really applaud them because they're really covering a lot more ground with a lot more people than just about any other district in the city, and we salute you guys and thank you. At this, show, YouTube, right? Okay, the election's over. We actually had some good winners. Not every winner was good. Some winners were disappointing. Some people were heartbreaking that they lost. But one of the people, actually, like one of the really good people that really beat somebody who not only wasn't good, but really was on the side of everything that's wrong with Springfield, is the successful candidate for the Democratic slot for Senate in Illinois from the 5th District, and that is Dr. Patricia Van Pelt Watkins. How are you?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
First of all, my pleasure, and I have to point out again, I think you've got the longest name of anybody who's on the show, and thank you for not using the Reverend also, where I'd really be in trouble.
Right.
I had to make the type for you for this show much smaller because I had to fit it across the screen.
Right. Well, I'm going to work on that.
No, that's, well, listen, that's, I'm not telling you to change your name.
Okay.
But listen, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, did you expect to win when you started the campaign, or?
Yes, I always expect to win. Whatever I do, I expect to win, I expect to finish, and I expect to do a good job.
Well, you did, and as a matter of fact, they really came after you at the end, too.
Yeah, they spent about $100,000 a week in the last 3 weeks.
Wow. I know that they brought in Rick Bone, who's a fancy campaign manager, and he tried. As a matter of fact, he tried to get Anjanette Collins on the show, but we had finished our last taping, so there was no way I could. There was no way I could accommodate him. Which, sorry, Rick, you're a good guy. I'll be happy. I would have done it earlier. I try to be fair to everybody, but no, it was great. And I want to thank Kelly Tarrant too, because Kelly's the person who brought you to our attention. So. Do you have a Republican opponent?
No, I don't. So I am relaxing and going out, meeting with people, talking to them about the issues that's important to them across the district. It's one of the things I want to be sure is that I represent the entire district. And I think that's been a problem we've had on the west side for years, because each one of our legislators are only focusing on a small part of the district, when it's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of resources across the district. And I want to be sure we bring all those resources together to improve our whole district.
Now, give us the boundaries for your district.
It's from Cicero to LaSalle and 2600 South to Webster. So it's pretty big. It's not a box, but those are the
Yeah, no,
it's
got to be gerrymandered.
Right.
I mean, that also includes my mother's old neighborhood, and she lived in 16th and Hamlin.
Oh yes, definitely. That is definitely in the district. I was just up there the other day, and it's interesting that when I speak with people in the North Lawndale, when they're talking about the issues that they're concerned about, and then when I go over to Bucktown, the people are talking about the same thing. They're talking about they want the city to stop being so centralized in their resource distribution and decentralize it, and spread more resources across across the neighborhoods.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
And they feel that their voices are not being engaged in the decision making in the city government.
Well, I don't even think the aldermen's voices get engaged anymore with Generalissimo Ram running things.
Well, we have a few that are speaking out, and I'm really proud of them for that.
I am too. As a matter of fact, on a different show, we had Alderman Bob Fioretti, and we congratulate him, and we're hoping to get Alderman Scott Wagsback at some point, and Brendan Riley, and that's not to mention, and I also sent a friend request to Alderman Hairston, I think her name is.
Okay, Leslie, yeah. Yeah.
So no, these are the kind of people I very much want on the show. People who are going to be honest about things, and my alderman could tell you what Ram ate for dinner the night before because she's so busy cleaning up after him. That,
oh wow! Okay.
And that was the polite version of what I wanted to say.
Okay, well, thank God for that. Thank God for the polite version. But one of the things I saw was when I was running, and I had 12 aldermen I had to work with. The way each alderman works with the residents was different, and I saw a trend of where people are beginning more to engage the community in helping them to talk about what's important for the district, and not just the alderman out there himself representing the community, but engaging the voices of the neighbors. And I think that's how we get out of this mess. is to bring people on board.
It would be nice. It's kind of funny because, like I'm so depressed about Rahm and what's going on in Chicago and the way he's heavy-handing people. And then I think, things like Facebook, and by the way, you can Facebook me. Facebook, started a revolution in Egypt. They started revolutions in other countries around the Middle East. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it started a revolution in Chicago?
Yes, it would be absolutely wonderful, because I think we could get things further down the road. We will improve our living conditions and improve our future if we engage community residents in helping to solve some of these problems, instead of trying to do it like, go up to the mountaintop and come down with the 10 Commandments. The commandments have to come from within the people and up. That's the way I think it needs to be done.
By the way, in this particular case, I agree with that. I mean, I'm a big fan of God, but the people need to do this one.
Well, you know what? We got to let God do his work, and then we have to do our work. So many times people want to do God's work, and they want God to do their work.
By the way, that's 100% true. And by the way, try to tell some people they're not God.
Oh!
So, it's interesting what you say about the different style of the alderman, because it really is it really is quite a contrast in different, not just different personalities, totally different styles.
Yeah, and then some aldermen just lie. I mean, they just lie to their constituents, about things that they're, challenges in the city government, and they make up things, and the residents think that they're telling the truth. So they listen to them and they nod their heads, not sure. But it's time for us to really do our own research and dig down into these issues ourselves. We cannot leave our futures in the hand of one person. We have to get involved.
No, you're very right, and it's like I've got a fairly new alderman, and people are only now finding out, for the most part, the truth isn't really part of the agenda.
Right. Wow. And then that's an eye opener when people think about it like that. If they understood the truth is not part of the agenda, then they know they have to seek for truth. The truth is not coming. You have to go and get it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't know what kind of saying it is, but I remember hearing often when I was a kid, God helps those who help themselves.
Right, absolutely.
So that definitely is, you got to go out, you got to go do stuff yourself.
Right.
And I apologize if it's from the wrong biblical source. I don't always know where these English sayings come from. I know them in Hebrew, I just don't know them in English.
Okay, right.
So anyway,
Well, have you heard the scripture that says that he that increases in knowledge increases in sorrow?
I have heard that,
yes.
yeah.
And he that increases in wisdom increases in grief.
What's possible?
Well, the issue is the more we know about the challenges, the more we recognize that we have a role in solving them. Many times we want to go home and let somebody else take care of that mess.
Now I understand what you're saying. It's true. Because you know what? Now that there's TV, or if people see the police blotter in the neighborhood newspaper, they think there's more crime than there is, when this has been going on for a long time.
Right.
And actually in the city, crime has actually been going down despite everything else. Doesn't mean that the gang problem's gone away, but you've got crime going down just because, knowledge, when people find out about these things, people slept better when they didn't know.
Right. So that's what it means by increasing in knowledge, you increase sorrow. But then it also makes you understand that you have a role in solving the problems. You can't just stay home and say, we're going to let the cops handle this. You have to get involved. You really have to get involved in what's going on in your neighborhood.
No, that's very important, and that's why, guys, show up at your CAPS meeting. As a matter of fact, in our neighborhood, go to caps24.org. Sonny Hirsch runs that site. In his spare time, it'll tell you where all the different meetings are. We always meet on Thursdays. There's a Thursday for the 10 sector, the 20 sector, the 30 sector, but it's a good way to find out what's going on. Unfortunately, in our neighborhood, we don't have a real community council. In Rogers Park, they got a real one. So if you're in Rogers Park, hook up with the Rogers Park Community Council. I mean, there's a lot of good organizations there. We just don't have any here.
Well,
sounds like you've got some good, decent ones, though.
Well, you know what? It's important to try to find out what groups are actually working in the community and try to bring them to the forefront, because many times there's organizations there, but they're not advertising. They don't have that kind of budget. You really have to, someone has to dig it up and then share the information across the board, and I hope to do that.
Yeah, in our case, our state senator, who was the husband of our alder person, gave a $100,000 grant, which didn't go through, to a local community group he wanted to see be the community group. And I think he probably realized that they weren't a 501c3 and therefore weren't eligible. But that's some of the lovely stuff you're going to see in Springfield.
Okay. Well, I hope to bring the best to our back to our district and help people to engage in solving the problems, because I think we have a big role in solving the problems, and we have to understand that first and then get engaged.
Are you getting invited to a lot of places now that you won?
Yes, and it's different than it was before. Because now every time I go somewhere, everybody's clapping their hands. Patricia Van Pelt Watkins is here, and they all clap and come say something to us. And I'm like, oh my God, I came here to learn. Then I get up and I try to, say something that sounds intelligent because I don't want to get up there, sound like, okay, where'd this person come from? So
Well,
it's
keep
been
the honesty
interesting.
because it's really refreshing and it's a good thing.
Okay, well, that's what I do. I just tell the truth, and I'm here to learn. I want to learn, and that's the reason why I go to all these different meetings.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not the state senator. I'm the Democratic nominee, so I get a chance to go to all these meetings and learn about everything, and not without people trying to say, "Can you fund me for this? Can you fund me for that? Can you fix this? Can you fix that?" But they basically, I'm just learning, so I can, when I get to Springfield, I can really represent the people because I think that's what's most important.
No, that sounds good, and you're going to get plenty of, can you fund me, can you give me this, can you
Yeah,
give me
and
that?
that's fine.
Yeah, my brother-in-law needs a job, and
I get that already. More of, I need a job. So people are really, they're hurting out there. And, one of the points you raised, I heard you before speak about, in another show, about you would prefer to just have your taxes raised rather than be nickeled and dimed to death.
yeah,
And if a politician was to talk about raising taxes, they would die on the spot. The nickel and diming to death is also killing people. So, people are not satisfied one way or the other. But one way we can look at this is that if we're not speeding, we won't get a speed ticket.
right.
And if we are not, not cleaning up behind our dog, we won't get a fine for that. So really the laws can be for the lawless. If we do right, we won't have to worry about paying those.
Well, actually, not having a car, not having a dog, I think I'm in good shape.
Oh, you started good, at least.
Oh, listen, I still get to pay my property tax, I get to pay my water bill, and I get to pay the highest sales tax in the country.
Oh, yes, me too. Especially when I go to restaurants. It's ridiculous. We used to could just multiply the tax time too. No more of that.
Yeah,
Because
it
the
is
tax
crazy
so
stuff.
high.
There's no question about
It almost matches the tip now.
Wow.
18% and 15%, something like that. I mean, the tax is like 12%, but I mean, the tip is 15 to 18%, right?
Right.
So it almost matches
That's
the tax.
still crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I spent $1 on food and $40 on tip and tax.
And don't catch a cab because you're not driving, so now you have to catch a cab to the store.
Well, actually, I walk.
Oh, okay.
Good exercise. I'll tell you, I carry around my tote bag, and if I'm going back from the supermarket with 20 pounds for about 1.75 miles, we're not a food desert, but I like the walking.
Mm-hmm.
I like the exercise. And I'll tell you, my doctor likes my numbers ever since I started walking, and I didn't ever mean to give up a car, but you know what? I just started feeling so good from walking. I wound up losing 40 pounds too.
Wow.
So
Excellent.
I rent one when I need one, and I need it for business sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I'm going to keep doing what I do. Wow. Anyway, at this point, Mickey's hands are starting to go in the wrong direction.
Okay.
So we're running out of time. I want to thank Kelly Turan very much for bringing you here. Dr. Patricia Van Pelt Watkins, who is the Democratic candidate for State Senate in the 5th Ward. Somebody who sounds like she's going to bring a refreshing, new maverick-type voice to the legislature. That's our word for today, thanks to Kelly. Maverick.
Yes.
And anyway, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch, and we hope you'll come back and regale us again.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.